Good evening and welcome to Wright Hennepin Cooperative Electric Association's 2021 annual meeting. I'm Tim Sullivan, President and CEO, and thank you for joining us. We offer special greetings tonight to those gathered here in our headquarters who are helping us to achieve the quorum necessary to conduct business, but also to the many engaged members joining us via live stream on the internet. Now, how many of us a year ago would have predicted this pandemic would last this long? This is now the second annual meeting that we've restructured to limit attendance and to ensure social distancing and to protect the health and safety of everyone. And that's especially noteworthy for an electric cooperative like Wright Hennepin because we rely on our membership's ability to meet in person for our governance. And in fact, an annual meeting at Wright Hennepin isn't just a nice get-together or an opportunity to hear an organizational update, as important as those goals are. For us, annual meetings confirm our very identity because they rely on the ability of our memberships to ensure democratic member control. And that means elections are held and reported and members remain firmly in control of their electric cooperative. And amid this pandemic, who among us hasn't been reminded almost daily just how important their electric cooperative is? Perhaps like you, I've been struck by the many organizations, from internet companies to product and service delivery companies, that have promoted their response to the pandemic. And it's true, many have stepped up, and I know all of us are grateful. But you'll forgive a CEO's pride in his business and in his cooperative when I say they're all predicated on safe, reliable, affordable electricity first. After all, you can't order a product online using the internet unless the electricity is working first. More importantly, you can't purchase groceries or fill up with gas or call a first responder or even receive modern medical care in an emergency room unless the electricity is working first. And at Wright Hennepin, we take that responsibility very, very seriously because we know that our service is an essential cornerstone, perhaps the essential cornerstone of modern American life. And that makes us very proud of what we do. And we're especially proud that in 2020, we were here for our members when you needed us, perhaps as never before. So thank you for spending a portion of your valuable evening with us. It's not only important, it's essential that we keep faith with the principles that so far have ensured and will continue to ensure that Wright Hennepin is here when you need us for many more years to come.
Good evening and welcome. My name is Eric Hines, Chairman of the Board of Wright Hennepin Cooperative Electric Association. At this time, I call the 84th Annual Membership Meeting to order. As there is more than 50 members in attendance, I declare a quorum. The Cooperative's legal counsel, Mark Sugden, is hereby appointed to serve as parliamentarian for tonight's meeting.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good evening, members. As you know, Wright Hennepin is a member-owned cooperative, and as such, at each member meeting, various matters are submitted to the members for action. In connection with this annual meeting, the members are voting on proposed revisions to the cooperative's bylaws, as well as on the election of 3 director positions relating to districts 1, 3, and 9. The proposed revisions to the bylaws and the candidates for the director positions have been identified to the members in a variety of means, including in the annual meeting notice and on the cooperative's website. With the notice of the annual member meeting, members were provided with mail ballots. Many members chose to submit their ballots using that method in advance of this meeting. Members were also provided with the opportunity to submit their vote electronically, and similarly, many members elected to participate in the voting process through that means. Typically, members are also provided the opportunity to cast their votes in person at the annual meeting. However, as has been communicated to the members via the annual meeting notice and elsewhere, due to the current health and public safety concerns and protocols, in-person voting is not permitted at this year's annual meeting. In the event another matter is placed for vote by the members this evening, which would be advisory in nature only, members were provided voting materials this evening to assist with the voting process. If something is brought to the members for a vote tonight, the chair will first call for a voice vote. If the voice vote does not clearly establish a result, the chair will call for a show of hands using the yellow hand card that was provided to all of you this evening. If after that action the vote is still not determinable, the chair will proceed with a written vote process whereby the members will use the blue voting cards that were provided to you this evening, which will then be collected by the election judges assisting with the process. This is the recap of the voting process and procedures to be used this evening. Are there any questions? Thank you.
For tonight's invocation, I'm pleased to call upon Director Burton Horsch.
Heavenly Father, great is thy faithfulness, our help in ages past, and our hope for years to come. 86 years ago, when the President of the United States signed the Rural Utilities Act, Wright Hennepin was conceived. Like a seed in the ground, it comes outstanding in the field. Yes, we were given our daily bread in quantitative proportions. Employees shared with innovations, brought conveniences only known in the urban communities to our rural areas. Also, we are grateful for being able to give people a greater peace of mind by offering security for their homes, businesses, and medical protection. As your Son restored health to so many, we pray that he would come among us and restore all these suffering from illnesses so they can resume fulfilling their appointed services. Be with those filling those vacant positions so that Wright Hennepin can keep serving their 50,000 members with full reliability. New challenges are entering the industry. May we always be able to serve our members and communities with a product they will always value to improve their quality of life. Let us never forget your divine invocation for us that started with a star in the sky and ended by an empty tomb. We'll always be ready to proclaim, O Lord, how great thou art.
Please join me in recognizing Burton for 21 years of dedicated service on the Wright Hennepin Board of Directors. At this time, I'd ask you to stand for the national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
The agenda for tonight's meeting is on page 2 of your program. A motion would be in order to approve the agenda as presented. Do I have a motion? Yep. Do I have a second? All in favor, say aye. Motion carried. In your program on page 3 are the minutes from the 2020 annual membership meeting. A motion would be in order to accept the minutes as printed. Do I have a motion? Do I have a second? All in favor, say aye. Motion carried. I now turn the podium over to Wright Hennepin Chief Financial Officer, Brian Swanson.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good evening, everyone. First of all, thank you again, directors, Team Wright Hennepin, and most importantly, you, the members of Wright Hennepin. It is my pleasure and opportunity this evening to share another year of very solid financial results as part of our consolidated financial report. WH's 2020 information was audited by the firm of Eide Bailly LLP, and we are pleased to report that they issued an unmodified or clean audit opinion, which is the highest level of assurance provided. Your businesses were very solid in 2020 by maintaining an excellent balance sheet and strong operating results. In addition, these strong financials were complemented by competitive rates and very reliable service. So let's review your cooperative financial performance by highlighting the main components of WH's balance sheet and statement of operations, which can be found in the insert in your program. December 31st, total utility plant found on line 3 of your balance sheet is $212 million, which is a $5 million increase from 2019. These are funds invested to keep your electric grid safe and reliable. Total other property investments, line 10, is over $58 million. This line includes WH's capital credits from other cooperatives we do business with, and also includes the WH holding businesses your cooperative owns. Cash on line 11 is $18 million. The electric utility business is a very capital-intensive business, and as such, WH needs to maintain strong cash levels for continued capital investment. This then positions us well for more planned capital investment in 2021 to continue providing safe, reliable power at competitive rates. Total assets on line 19 is over $226 million, which is an increase of over $9 million compared to 2019. On line 22 is total members' equity, which is over $92 million. This is your ownership in the business. The majority of the equity is allocated to you, the member. WH continues to maintain an excellent asset ratio of nearly 41%. Total long-term debt, which is on line 26, is $94 million. This is WH's mortgage on the $212 million investment in poles, wires, meters, transformers, substations, etc. WH's debt portfolio is diversified amongst 3 lenders, which provides flexibility and helps mitigate interest rate risk. Line 34 is total members' equity and liabilities, which equals total assets and is over $226 million. So let's move on to the statement of operations, which is located on the right side of the insert in your program. Line 51 is our operating revenue, which is $107 million, of which, as shown on line 52, we deferred $5.6 million into future years' uses to help maintain the competitive rates which you have come to expect from Wright Hennepin. Line 53, cost of power, is WH's largest cost and is nearly $68 million. Total local operating expenses, line 57, is $17 million. Our commitment to you is to keep these costs down, which are costs to operate the businesses such as wages, benefits, technology, equipment maintenance, et cetera. So the graph that you see behind me, WH is the bottom blue line and how we compare to the industry. So you can see how successfully, historically, your employees have been at keeping operating costs among the very industry's best. Let's move on to total fixed charges, which is line 61 and is $12 million. This line includes property and real estate taxes, depreciation, and long-term debt. The result of the electric business revenues and expenses is the net operating margins on line 63, which is $4.5 million for 2020. Operating margins were more favorable due to greater electricity sales and exceptional control of power costs. Due to the healthy margins, the WH Board of Directors chose to refund to you, the member, a total of nearly $6.3 million in 2020 as part of the general capital credit retirement. And that was done in December, and we'll touch a little bit more on that later. The Conservation Improvement Program on line 64 is $456,000. This is mandated spending by the state for energy conservation programs. Non-operating margins, which is on line 65, is a profit of $642,000. This line includes primarily interest and profits from the WH holding businesses. In addition to generating a profit, the WH holding businesses absorbed nearly $1.5 million of operating costs from the electric business in 2020. And since 2008, this number exceeds $23 million, which translates into an immediate direct benefit to you through very competitive electric rates. Generation and transmission and other capital credits, line 67, is $2.8 million. This is not cash, but allocation from our power suppliers and associated organizations. The power supply margins are allocated to you, the members, and when cash is received from the power supplier, such as Great River Energy, it is then passed through. This pass-through is usually included as part of the general capital credit retirement in December. Line 68, net margins for 2020 is $7.6 million. This is our bottom line. It's a healthy net margin. As set forth in our bylaws, margins from electric operations are returned to the member in the form of capital credits. Over $27 million in capital credits has been returned to the members over the last decade. And in fact, in 2020, WH returned nearly $6.3 million in December as a general capital credit retirement to you, the member, right before the holidays. And this $6.3 million was our highest capital credit retirement in history, and the average amount was $148. Therefore, in closing, your cooperative continues to be financially strong and a competitive leader. Thank you for being a member and allowing me to present the strong financial results from 2020 this evening. Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Now that you've heard the audited financials report for 2020, a motion would be ordered to accept the report as presented. Do I have a motion? We have a motion. Is there a second? We have a second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Motion carried. Here when you need us, perhaps more than ever before, these words really meant something last year. Because amid all the uncertainty in 2020, wasn't it nice to be able to count on electricity? At Wright Hennepin, we're reminded in 2020 how essential our service is. After all, for stay-at-home orders to work, we all need power to connect back to the businesses, workplaces. Students need power to connect with teachers in schools. Healthcare workers need power to provide healthcare at hospitals and clinics. And so many stores closed, we all need power to order products and services online. So what better theme for our 2021 annual meeting than here when you need us? In fact, please consider these 4 important ways Wright Hennepin made good on these promises. Again, for stay-at-home orders to work, power must be reliable. And in 2020, Wright Hennepin's power was more reliable than ever before. Consider, in 2020, our members were on average without power less than a half hour. When members did experience an outage, they were without power an average for less than 80 minutes. This means Wright Hennepin was among the top 10% of co-ops in the nation for reliability. Reliability like this doesn't happen by chance. We know we must always reinvest in our system. That's why we install another 6,000 advanced meters in 2020. We'll be completing the rest of our system over the next 3 years. These new meters will provide more information to members and allow us to improve operation of the grid. That's the test for the storm warning, so nobody has to worry about it. In 2020, Wright Hennepin rebuilt yet another substation, our fourth in 5 years. We also installed 384 miles of line and added more than $18 million in net utility plant. Being dependable also means pricing that is competitive and affordable. Consider, in 2020, the typical monthly residential bill for a Wright Hennepin member was almost 4% less than XL. With energy-saving programs added, the Wright Hennepin Advantage grow to almost 9%. And with the 2020 capital credit refund added, the Wright Hennepin Advantage swells to almost 17%. And we're speeding up the timeline for capital credit refunds. In 5 years, Wright Hennepin has reduced our return time from 27 years to less than 21. And in December, Wright Hennepin gave back the largest capital credit refund in history, $6.3 million. And by participating in special programs, Wright Hennepin members can save even more. Wright Hennepin offers energy-saving programs for electric water heating, space heating, dual fuel, and air conditioning. In fact, these programs slash electric rates by up to half. And while some of our older air conditioning programs need to be repriced to balance benefits with costs, they will still deliver discounts. Wright Hennepin also offers rebates up to $1,000 for electric vehicle users who install a ZEF energy charging station. The ZEF energy charging station allows you to plug in immediately, but delays charging until the nighttime when energy costs are low. For as little as $1 a month, you can support the development of renewables on the grid or offset your bill with a fixed solar rate. Almost 20 customers are participating in this program. And amid a pandemic, Wright Hennepin also stayed committed to the community we serve. So with many public events closed or canceled, Wright Hennepin went the extra mile in 2020 to hold virtual events. We hosted an ice cream truck for 4 local daycare sites and conducted an online bingo event with prizes. We even held a holiday coloring contest for kids. And as many of Wright Hennepin Trust, as always, the Wright Hennepin Trust continues to award almost $200,000 in local charities through Operation Roundup. Thank you for rounding up your bill to provide this funding. Let me in closing say, Wright Hennepin are here when we need you, here when you need us. At Wright Hennepin, you come first. Because even in a pandemic, our membership remains at the heart of everything we do. And with our continued help and support, we'll continue to be here when you need us for many years to come. And as always, thank you for your business. And at this time, I call upon Wright Hennepin Holding Chair, Tim Young.
Okay, I'm the comic relief, so give me a second here. So did you ever have one of these when you were little? Or maybe one of your own children had one when they were growing up. But I bet you all know the saying about these things. When life gives you lemons, make lemonade. So I want to tell you a story about my dad. Sometime around 1943, he was in ROTC and was a pre-med student at the University of Minnesota. One day they were called to an assembly. The leader stood in front and he waved his arm and he said, "Everybody on this side of the room, go back to class and be doctors. And everybody on this side of the room, you're now on active duty." And so ended my dad's dream of becoming a physician. Now, I always understood that story to be a parable about the fickle finger of fate. And sometimes when I get down in the dumps, I think about my dad and I look to him for inspiration and what he did when life gave him lemons. Now, fate has lately given us two great plagues. Plague number one is the COVID. And you don't have to do anything but look out here and see how far apart we have to sit to understand that we're not over that. Plague number two was the election last fall. And I don't think we're over that one either. I got both of my COVID shots, but I wish there was a vaccine I could have for the next election. So what has all that got to do with why we're here tonight? Well, in a lot of ways, this co-op is just one great big lemonade stand. This co-op was started by a bunch of folks who refused to feel sorry for themselves when no one would bring electric power to their homes and farms. They decided to make lemonade. This co-op, your co-op, my co-op, our co-op, was started by those folks. So everything here that you see is really a lemonade stand. It provides electric power to some 50,000 homes, farms, and businesses, and security and monitoring and appliance repair to thousands more. This is what we've inherited as the member owners. This is the legacy, this co-op, your co-op, my co-op, our co-op. This co-op is the legacy of those folks who, in the midst of the Great Depression, shrugged their shoulders and went to work making lemonade. And I, for one, am grateful that they did. So in the words of Roy Rogers, the king of the cowboys, good night, good luck, and may the Lord take a liking to you.
At this time, I'd like to thank Survey and Ballot Systems for running the election, and also Heidi Bailey and Mark Sugden, who serve as tonight's election judges. This year, the cooperative has 25 candidates seeking an election to the board of directors. Please watch the short video which will introduce this year's candidates.
District 1 has 2 director candidates, Brian Hudgens, Monticello. Incumbent, Timothy Young, Annandale. The director position for District 3 is currently open. In District 3, there are 21 director candidates. Pat Bakeberg, Waverly. Stephen Bell, Mound. Adi Borisma, Minnetrista. Gerald Brockman, Orono. Chris Carlson, Minnetrista. Daniel Geiger, Watertown. Steve Heinz, Medina. Bridget Hansi, Independence. Julie Jones, Greenfield. Andrew Loader, Independence. Dennis Lonergan, Long Lake. Andrew Mayer, Hamel. Mary Morrison, Medina. Jay Novak, Medina. Robert Nye, Medina. Stephen Pinney, Minnetrista. Margie Ritter, Maple Plain. Chris Ritz, Maple Plain. Joseph Schnickloff, Independence. Amy Stelling, Orono. Philip Wenzel, Corcoran. District 9 has 2 director candidates. Ann Crawford, Corcoran. Incumbent Eric Hines, Corcoran.
I now call upon tonight's election judge, legal counsel Mark Sugden, to read the official results of the 2021 director's election results and bylaw results.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I, on behalf of the duly appointed election judges for the 2021 annual meeting of members of Wright Hennepin Cooperative Electric Association, held this 15th day of April 2021, do hereby certify that the election was fairly and impartially conducted, that we supervised the votes of the members cast at the meeting by ballot, that based upon the submittals and certifications by survey and ballot systems as election service provider and our supervision of the ballots submitted in connection with the annual meeting, that we are familiar with the election ballots submitted by the members in all forms and the tabulations of the votes cast, and based on our personal knowledge and the information submitted by survey and ballot systems, the following members received the number of votes set opposite their names, to wit. District 1, Timothy Young, incumbent, 424 votes. Brian Hudgens, Monticello, 132 votes, 0 write-ins. District 3, Pat Bakeberg, 146 votes. Daniel Geiger, 70 votes. Bridget Hansi, 67 votes. Jay Novak, 64 votes. Mary Morrison, 56 votes. Steve Heinz, 44 votes. Julie Jones, 37 votes. Philip Wenzel, 27 votes. Gerald Brockman, 22 votes. Andrew Loader, 21 votes. Stephen Pinney, 20 votes. Margie Ritter, 19 votes. Adi Boersma, 18 votes. Amy Stelling, 15 votes. Chris Ritz, 14 votes. Robert Nye, 11 votes. Stephen Bell, 6 votes. Chris Carlson, 6 votes. Andrew Mayer, 6 votes. Joseph Schnickloff, 6 votes. Dennis Lonergan, 5 votes, and 2 write-in votes. District 9, Eric Hines, 260 votes. Pam Crawford, 118 votes. Write-in, 1 vote. And finally, we certify that the following restated bylaws were voted as such. Yes, I approve the restated bylaws, 3,380 votes. No, I do not approve the restated bylaws, 329 votes. We therefore certify that the following were duly elected as directors to hold office according to the bylaws of the cooperative and until their successors shall be duly elected and qualified. District 1, Timothy Young. District 3, Pat Bakeberg. District 9, Eric Hines. Thank you.
Before continuing, let me thank all the candidates allowed to have their names placed in nomination for directorship. Please join me in a round of applause. And now finally, is there any old business? Is there any old business? Is there any old business? Is there any new business? Is there any new business? Is there any new business? Being no further business, I would ask for a motion to adjourn. We have a motion. Is there a second? All in favor, say aye. Motion carried. I now call upon Wright Hennepin Key Account Representative Ryan O'Connor, who will conduct the prize drawings. We ask you please stay in the meeting area as you need be present to win. Ushers will dismiss you by row when it is over. Thank you.
All right, for the first drawing, we will be giving away the electric chainsaw. The winner of the chainsaw is Perry Simonson. Perry, you here? Perfect. Second prize is the electric grill. The winner is Adi Biersma. Congratulations. And finally, we have the electric blower. We have Andrew Mayer. Andrew, congratulations. If everybody wants to remain seated, we'll usher you out so everybody gets out safely. Thank you.